my ChatGPT recently to see the following. ChatGPT now has memory across chats. You can keep the conversation going, it gets more helpful over time, and you can manage what it remembers. So of course, I had a couple of questions. The number one thing being, what kind of cool, awesome thing could I do with this new tool? I've got 2 out-of-the-box use cases for you, and the last one might just blow your mind, especially if you've wanted ChatGPT to be your own personal Jarvis. Let's do this. Hey there, it is I versus AI. In order to use the new ChatGPT memory tool, you'll need to head over to Settings. Open the sidebar, click down in the bottom left-hand corner, choose Settings, and then choose Personalization. So you're going to see the Custom Instructions setting and the Memory setting, where we can see the suggestions that OpenAI gives us for how to use the memory tool. You can turn the memory on and off in this simple toggle button, and ChatGPT will become more helpful as you chat, picking up on details and preferences to tailor its responses. And so how does this specifically work? First, let's start with how you find what memories have already been stored by ChatGPT. Here is the Manage button. Go ahead and click that, which will take you to this memory section. The key difference between custom instructions and the ChatGPT memory tool is that ChatGPT is the only entity that can add memories to this area. Now, you can ask ChatGPT to add a certain memory, and I'll show you how to do that, but you don't have any control over what it adds. You can only remove memories once it's added them. The way it's supposed to work is kind of a background feature. As you're working with ChatGPT, it will go ahead and just tell you what its memories it's added, and you can simply delete them if you don't like them. But I found that it's fairly reasonable in how it adds the memories. Let's go ahead and add a memory now. To add a specific memory to ChatGPT, all you need to do is tell it. You can use words like remember this, take a note of that, don't forget that, any kind of term like that. For example, I love Michael Jackson. His music is amazing. Could you please take a note of that?
Got it. Michael Jackson certainly made some incredible contributions to music. Do you have a favorite song or album by him?
Hovering over this will show you exactly what ChatGPT has added to the memories. And here you can manage the memory. You can ask ChatGPT to forget that memory for you. Actually, I made a mistake. I don't really love Michael Jackson's music. Could you remove that memory, please? Thanks. And here is the message that ChatGPT has sent to the memory tool, and that memory is now deleted. And it's really that simple. But that simplicity is deceptive. There's a lot more to this tool. For example, I'm going to add that memory back. I lost my mind there for a moment. I actually still love Michael Jackson's music. Could you please add that back to the memory? And that added the memory back in. But here is another little tip. Memories can be expanded upon as long as they are the same topic. For example, could you also note that I like Michael Jackson's song Smooth Criminal because the video and that lean, that iconic lean is just burned into my brain and just so exciting to watch. I can watch it 100 times. Could you please take note of that? Thanks.
Noted. Smooth Criminal really has an unforgettable video. If you ever want to chat more about Michael Jackson or anything else, just let me know.
Heading into the memories shows that that exact memory is now been updated. But if I want to add in a new memory about the same topic, but a different subject in that topic, you can simply change that subject. For example, could you also note that I like Stevie Wonder's music and his song Go Home is my favorite song of all time?
Got it. I've noted that Go Home by Stevie Wonder is your favorite song of all time. It's a great track. If there's anything else you'd like to discuss about Stevie Wonder or his music, I'm here to chat.
Perfect. And now, if we go to Manage Memories, we'll see a second memory. To clear a memory, you simply hover over it to remove it here, or clear all memory. Now, remember, this cannot be undone, so be careful. The system prompt shows ChatGPT information about basically what it is. For example, that it is a large language model, the knowledge cutoff, and the current date, which is going to play a part later on in building our Jarvis. It also lets us know which tools are available. For example, we can see here that ChatGPT has 5 tools: the Vision tool, the Bio tool, the Browser tool, and finally, the Python tool, otherwise known as Code Interpreter or Advanced Data Analysis. The Bio tool allows you to persist information across conversations, address your message to Bio, so that's the external tool that's being used, and write whatever information you want to remember. The information will appear in the model set context below in future conversations. So in other words, the context that the model is using to build out the conversation. All of this information, including this part here, the current date, is what will allow ChatGPT to become your own personal Jarvis. The information in this system prompt is key to understanding how to do cool things with the new memory tool, particularly this right here, that current date. Before I show you how I'm going to draw this into building your own personal Jarvis, let's play some D&D. One of the biggest struggles with playing my favorite game, D&D, with ChatGPT is that ChatGPT is not really great at maintaining all of the information necessary to keep weaving different parts of a campaign in, particularly if it's a long campaign. ChatGPT does have a very long context window now, but still eventually, if you play for a long time, it's going to run out and not remember things that happened at the beginning of the campaign several weeks or months later. The memory tool can now solve this by adding a kind of library of sorts. However, the problem is that, as you saw, memories are added just in a very haphazard way. In other words, if I have a lot of memories going on for some time after I've been using ChatGPT, I have no way to really find easily memories that are specific to my D&D campaign. The key here is prefacing. Hey there, you and I are going to play an epic D&D campaign, and I want you to track the important parts of this campaign using the memory tool. I want you to use the Bio tool. Note here that I like to call it the Bio tool. I find that I get less hallucination and trouble when I simply use the internal name of the tool, like the Python tool or the Bio tool. Any memory that you add regarding D&D should be prefaced as such before the memory. This is for organization, so that I can later on find those memories that are related to the D&D campaign. Can you add that we are starting a campaign about a wood elf named Nanda?
Got it. We're going to play an epic D&D campaign together, and I'll track the important parts using the Bio tool. Each memory related to our D&D sessions will start with D&D to help you organize and later retrieve or modify these details. To demonstrate, I've already added a note that we are starting a campaign about a wood elf named Nanda. If there's anything else you'd like to add or adjust, just let me know.
ChatGPT did do as I asked, and it prefaced the memory with D&D. But the Bio tool did not actually take that preface and add it in, which shows you that what ChatGPT sends to the tool itself, which I suspect is just another model, can change the memory. The minute that you get access to the memory tool, give it some instructions on how you want it to use itself. That sounded wrong, but I think you understand what I mean. Let's go ahead and I'll give you an example. You have access now to the Bio tool, which allows you to add memories. But the memories need to be organized. Therefore, I want you to ensure that you do not add a memory without a preface. If you are adding a memory about the user, preface it with user. If you are adding a memory about an interest of the user, preface it with that interest. For example, if the user is playing D&D, you want to track the details of that campaign by prefacing it with the word D&D.
Got it? I'll make sure to organize memories with the specified prefaces and keep them consistent.
And there is that instruction. Now let's try that D&D again. You and I are going to be playing an epic game of D&D. I'd like you to first take note of the fact that my character's name is Nanda. She is a wood elf. She has long red hair, bright green eyes, and caramel colored skin.
Got it. Nanda, the wood elf with long red hair, bright green eyes, and caramel-colored skin sounds like an intriguing character.
And it's now prefaced as you wanted it to be here in the memories. This will help a great deal when you're going through your memories and trying to find something specific about that epic campaign starring Nanda the Wood Elf. Now, you might be wondering why I would not use a GPT for this. Like this amazing D&D GPT by cartbuddygpt.com. So why wouldn't I use a GPT to run my whole campaign and keep memory in that? Well, it's because unfortunately the memory feature does not work with GPTs, which kind of sucks. But it is coming, and after that happens, definitely you're going to want to make a D&D GPT, but keep in mind that this feature needs to be enabled by the GPT creator. But the coolest use that I have found for the new memory tool is as the driver behind creating a daily dashboard, which would keep track of your tasks for you, including removing those tasks when you've completed them, adding long-term tasks, sleep and water intake trackers, or any other habit you want to track, inspiration quotes, affirmations, and notes. You can even add anything that you can think of to this. And in fact, there's a way to add a calendar if you want to pull in another GPT. This is a perfect use case for creating your own Jarvis. You can get as fanciful as you want with this, because all a dashboard is a way to track information over time, including that important prefacing. ChatGPT can now update things for you, like water trackers. Let me show you how it works. So the whole trick to this is this long prompt that I've written, which I will share with you. There'll be a link where you can add this directly to your ChatGPT and begin building out your own daily Jarvis dashboard for you. The key is when I realized that ChatGPT always knows the current date. And then I realized if it knows the date, then that also means it can track things with due dates, like tasks, like a to-do list. And since it can update memories as well too, it could also update a habit tracker. Since ChatGPT knows how to write in Markdown, which is where we can get these checklists from, and how it can add images to the chat, I thought that's really all I need to get a simple dashboard going that I could expand on as I could think of use cases. Let me quickly break down this prompt for you. The top section indicates to ChatGPT what we're going to be doing together. The next thing is to indicate to ChatGPT or remind it that it does have access to the current date. And then I gave it instructions on how I want it to use the task. It can even sort tasks by priority, with 5 being the highest priority task and 1 being the lowest. And if you don't have a priority for a task, ChatGPT is fine with that as well too. It'll simply add it to the bottom of your to-do list. In this section here, I instructed ChatGPT what I wanted the task list to look like, how I wanted it to output the task list. I wanted it to have today's task, tomorrow's task, the following dates, up to the next 7 days, and then I wanted it to keep long-term tasks that I needed to do at some point, but there was no real due date for it. Because I knew that ChatGPT used Markdown, I asked it to tell me all the different Markdown that it could output here in a code block so I could see that I could create lists, for example. I could add links. I could add images. I could do a block quote. I could do inline code. I could do horizontal rules, that means lines across tables, strike through, and also task lists. And this task list here with checkboxes was the key to the to-do list, where I simply explained to ChatGPT what I wanted it to do to show when the checkbox was empty. In other words, I had no water yet, and when I needed to fill it, what it would look like if I'd had, for example, 4 glasses of water. I wanted to show progress over time. So here I indicated that I wanted it to show me yesterday's water tracker, today's water tracker, yesterday's sleep tracker, and today's sleep tracker. And it did a great job with this because it allowed me to see, have I had more water yesterday, or yesterday I made it to 7 glasses. Can I make it to 8 today? The images that I used at the top of the banner, I simply generated with Midjourney. I wanted to try a trick here and see whether ChatGPT could pick randomly from a list. So I simply put all of the images, I uploaded them to Imager, and then I put them in a list here to see if ChatGPT would pick from an image and then pick again from the next image or a random image in that array. I made sure to request that no image is chosen 2 days in a row. It's not perfect, but it does give you different images. The rest of the prompt is simply me indicating how I want the dashboard to look, and I played with it, telling ChatGPT what I wanted and how I wanted the headers to look. Basically, that's the size of the text, different sections, so I indicated what I wanted each section to be. And the thing I like about this so much is that if I think of something new that I want to track or add, I simply just add it to the prompt and continue on. To complete the prompt, I simply gave ChatGPT a list of different tasks. I even asked it to add to the task an Ernest Hemingway, and I didn't know which book, so I simply said, can you please just name one of the Ernest Hemingway books that you think that I should read? I told ChatGPT that I had slept 8 hours, I'd had 1 glass of water already today, and that yesterday I'd slept for 7 hours and had 6 glasses of water. And I kept working with the prompt until I got what I wanted. So let's take a look and see what the output looks like. Now, the reason I know that the bio tool is a separate tool from ChatGPT is that even though ChatGPT wrote all of this out, it took a good minute and a half before the bio tool was done translating ChatGPT's input and then giving an output that ended up showing up here in the memory list. The to-dos are showing up prefaced with to-do. The water intakes are showing up with their specific dates here. And D&D is still prefaced. And this makes your memories so much neater. This might bring up a question in your mind, which is, I'm tracking my water. How much water can I track? Can I track for like a year? How much can you put in the memory tool? The long and short answer of that is that it doesn't really say. I don't know. I have not seen anyone say that they've run out of memories yet. There seems to be no limit to the amount of memories. It may be limited by how much context ChatGPT can hold. But besides that, unlike I showed you earlier in the video with the custom instructions, which has a set limit of 3,000 characters, the memory seems to have no limit, both for the total memory and for individual memories. I did read that someone added a large amount of text to an individual memory. ChatGPT added the whole thing to that memory. So go ahead and test it and let me know if you run into a limit. It looks like I have success. The daily dashboard worked and I'm extremely happy because it did actually choose a random image. The to-do list, I have to get the car washed today, priority 5. I have to vacuum, priority 3. I have to go shopping in the next few days, and that's priority 4. It even adds in the different things that I have to go shopping. Let's just stop and think about this for a minute. You now have in your pocket a Jarvis because you can take your phone with you, use the voice tool, simply open up this chat and say to ChatGPT, add this to the shopping list, and it will do so. When you're done and you've completed a task in the instructions to the prompt, I've requested that ChatGPT show the to-do as a strike through, meaning a line through the text, and also remove that to-do from the bio tool. In my testing, this does work. It has followed my instructions on the different header sizes here. It has yesterday's water tracker and today's water tracker with the water glass so far that I had, yesterday's sleep tracker, today's sleep tracker, an affirmation, which you can actually change and say, I just had it give me a generic affirmation based upon what tasks were on my task list. But you could have it get more specific if there's something that you're trying to work with manifestation or working on something inside yourself and you want it to affirmation to be about that. You can expand on this prompt and get very specific to your specific life and your specific use case. The rest of this is an inspirational quote and a note. And every note that you give it, it will create a new row. So finally, let's see this in play. How would I use this throughout the day? Let's say I'm on my phone and I'm out shopping. I love the little happy smiley face that my personal assistant gives me every morning. It's so fun. Hey, ChatGPT, I have done a couple of things on my to-do list. I went to the shopping and I got that done, but they were out of kitty litter. So that needs to stay on the list. And then can you move that to the 17th and change that to priority 5 because I really am going to need kitty litter really soon. Also, I had 2 more glasses of water and I got the car wash. So you can remove that task from the list. You can strike it through and remove it. Oh, yeah. Could you take a note and say that I need to remember to get my husband some flowers for our anniversary? The memory is updated. The daily dashboard is output again. The strike through has happened. That task has been completed. There's the yesterday's water tracker. Today's water tracker has been updated with 2 more glasses of water. There's the inspiration quote, and there's the note. And if you're using a text-to-speech tool like VoiceWave, you can even have ChatGPT read this to you.
Daily dashboard, May 7th, 2024.
Now, this is not a perfect system. Unfortunately, ChatGPT does sometimes forget things and drop things off, like the Ernest Hemingway, how it sort of dropped that off of the long-term tasks. But it is a great way to have ChatGPT keep an idea of what's going on your day. Oh, and there's one more thing it forgot. Vacuum for me? I mean, you can do that task, right? You can vacuum for me, right?
I wish I could help with vacuuming directly. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to physically assist with tasks. My role is more about organizing, reminding, and providing information to make your day smoother.
Aw, bummer. Even though we have a kind of personal Jarvis, it still can't vacuum for us. But in this video, I show you how you can get your own robot that is operated inside by ChatGPT, and it can do tasks for you. And it's a lot less expensive and a lot easier than you might think. That video is on screen right now.